Hello children, how are you? I hope you all are doing well and studying well. So children, as we all know, science is a mixture of everything. So now let's see what are we going to learn over here in this chapter called air, water and weather. So we all need air to breathe. Okay, that is one of the main reasons for our survival because there is air that we breathe. Okay. Then there is water that we require for our survival as well. Okay. And because our Mother Earth has all these things for us, the air, the water for us, and that is the reason why we are able to survive. Alright. So, at the same time, weather also makes a major difference in our day-to-day life. So, when it is warm, it makes a difference. Too much of warmth, too much of cold also makes a lot of difference. So let's talk about all this in detail in this chapter. Okay, so we are going to learn about the importance of air. We are going to talk about the composition of air. Okay, land and sea breeze. And we are going to talk about air shows all the properties of matter. Okay, so in this chapter, we will learn about air, water and weather in detail. Alright, so we all know that air is all around us. Okay, it is present everywhere on the earth. All living things require air. We cannot see air, but we can feel it and its presence in many ways. You feel the air when the leaves of tree rustle or the clothes hanging on the clothesline sway. So, we cannot see air at all, but we can feel it. We can hear the sound of the wind. Wind is also a type of air. So, we can only feel the air, or we can only know that air is flowing when the clothes sway, okay, or when the leaves of the trees they rustle, okay. So, let's do this activity to show the presence of air. What you need over here, the material required is paper wheel mounted on a stick. So, you can make these paper wheels and mount them on a stick. Procedure is to hold the paper wheel by its stick and move it in different directions in an open area. So, you will observe that the paper wheel starts rotating, and conclusion is that the paper wheel rotates when the air strikes its blade. So, whenever you will make this paper wheel, okay, you will see that when you hold it in any particular direction, if it moves, that means the air is moving from that direction, okay, and that's the reason why it's hitting that paper wheel and then it's moving, it's rotating. So, do this observation, alright. So, children, have you seen a weathercock? Okay, so it is generally mounted on top of houses, okay. So, it shows the direction. Okay, it's not only houses, but it is also used on the top of any buildings and all. Okay, so it shows the direction in which the air is moving. Okay, at the place, at that particular place, the weathercock, with the movement of the air, it starts moving. Its direction changes. So we know that the air is moving from, say, east direction or west direction. Okay, so now this moving air, it is called wind. Okay. Now, our earth is surrounded by a thin layer of air. This layer of air, it extends up to many kilometers above the surface of the earth, and that is why it is called atmosphere. So, the layer of air that extends up to kilometers above the surface of the earth, that is from the ground till many kilometers up in the sky, okay, where the air is there, that is known as the atmosphere. Okay, that air is called the atmosphere. Okay, as we go higher up the mountains, the oxygen level, it starts decreasing. So, the mountaineers have to carry oxygen cylinders with them. So, so whenever these mountaineers, they go on their expeditions, okay, to say for example, they are climbing the Mount Everest, you will see that they are carrying oxygen cylinders with them. That is because as the person starts climbing up, okay, and the air, it starts becoming thin, and then slowly the oxygen level in the air starts dropping, and that is when the requirement for additional oxygen starts building up, and that's why they carry oxygen cylinders with them. Okay. So now, what is this air made up of? What is the composition of air? Air is a mixture of many gases. So it is a mixture of many gases. So it consists of 78% nitrogen and 21% is oxygen. So it also contains carbon dioxide, water vapor, dust particles, smoke and many other gases. So all the other things are in a lesser quantity. So major percentage is 78% nitrogen and 21% oxygen. Rest everything, okay, is very minimal. Alright, now carbon dioxide is the gas that is released by us, okay, the carbon dioxide that we release, okay, when we breathe out. Okay. Now, let's do an activity, okay, to prove 1/5 part of air is oxygen. Okay. So, you require these following materials. You need 2 troughs, candle and a matchbox along with a glass jar. Okay. So, procedure is fix a candle in the trough. Okay. So, you can look at the diagram and fix it in that manner. Now, fill half the trough with water. Take a mass jar and divide it into 5 parts and invert it over the candle, over the burning candle. Now, you will take a jar, mass jar, and then you will divide it into 5 parts and invert it, that means put it on top of the burning candle. Okay. Your observation will be that the candle burns for some time and then extinguishes. Now, the water level, it rises only up to some level in the air. So, conclusion is that oxygen in the jar supports burning. It means for a candle to burn, you require air or oxygen. Okay. When oxygen inside the jar gets used up, because you've already closed it, you've closed the, put the jar on top of the burning candle. So, it will only use the air that was present inside that jar. So, that is why once it gets used up, the candle extinguishes, the space occupied by air decreases and water level, it rises up to 1 part. Okay. So, it means that oxygen is present only 1/5 of air. Okay. Now, the next activity is to show that the air contains water vapor. So, for this you require a beaker, ice cold water and ice cubes. Okay. So, what you will do is you will put some ice cold water and few ice cubes in a beaker. Okay. Take a beaker, you put some ice cold water and ice cubes in it, and then you place it on a table. Okay. You will observe that after some time, we will see that the water droplets on the outer surface of the beaker. Okay. You will see some water droplets on the outer surface of the beaker. Sometimes when the climate is very humid, okay, if you remove a water bottle from the fridge and keep it out, or maybe a vessel of milk, if you keep it on the kitchen platform, okay, you will see that there are water droplets forming on the outside of that vessel or the jar or the bottle. Okay. It shows that water droplets are formed due to condensation of water vapor present in air. Now, this procedure is known as condensation. Okay. We will learn about it in detail after some time. Okay. So, next activity is to show that air contains dust particle. Now, you require a torch and a room. So, you have to close all the windows and doors of the room, and then you have to switch on the torch. Okay. You will see that the dust particles, they float in air, that can be seen in light of the torch. Apart from that also, you can also observe it when you are sitting sometimes by the window side. Okay. With the sunlight coming, you can see that you will see some dust particles in the air. Okay. So, that shows that air is all around, okay, and dust particles are present in the air. Okay. Now, conclusion is that air contains dust particles. So, we should breathe through nose, as nose contains fine hair which prevents dust particles from getting inside. The presence of dust particles in air varies from time to time and from place to place. So, what happens is we have to make sure that if you look into your nose, okay, if you look in stand in front of the mirror and look inside your nose, you will see there are fine tiny hair. Okay, now this hair, they stop the dust particle from entering inside, and now even sometimes when these dust particles do enter, we sneeze and we throw out the air, okay, or the dust particles. When you breathe through your mouth, there is no scope of the air for the air to get filtered, and that is the reason why you should not breathe through your mouth, okay, because you are taking in dust particles otherwise. So, now let us look at the properties of air. So, what is it that air has? Okay, air has energy. Air in the form of storm can uproot trees. The energy of moving air is called wind energy. So, sometimes we see that the air, the speed of the air is really very high, okay, and then we will see that everything is just flying away, okay, even the trees are getting uprooted and all. So, that is the energy that air has. This is known as the wind energy, okay. Now, air exerts pressure. When we drink a cold drink with a straw, it is the air pressure on the surface of the liquid which forces it into the straw when we suck it. So, when we suck, okay, the liquid from the straw, okay, through the straw, it comes because of the air, okay, that pressure is put on that because of the air. So, when we drink a cold drink with a straw, you will always observe that it is the air pressure on the surface, the pressure that goes down the surface of the liquid, okay, that forces the air to come inside our mouth, okay. Now, what is a breeze? So, you must have heard this term that a gentle breeze is flowing in it. So, what exactly is breeze? So, the heat of the sun, it affects the movement of air. The sun heats up the air, making it lighter. The hot and lighter air rises up and the cool air takes its place. So, this is breeze. Breeze is a gentle moving wind or gentle moving air is known as breeze. So, now when the heat of the sun, okay, that heat of the sun is the major factor for the movement of this air. Okay. So, when the sun heats up the air, so when during the daytime when the sun heats up the air, okay, it makes the air lighter. Okay. Now, this hot and light air, what happens is it rises up because the air has got heated up, it rises, it starts rising up, okay, and then the cool air takes its place. Okay. Now, there is a difference between sea breeze, okay, and land breeze. What happens is in sea breeze, the sun warms both land and the water, okay. So, it is warming up the land as well as the sea or the water, but the land warms up faster than water, okay. In the day, the sea is cool, okay, and the land is warm. So, if you have gone to any beach area, you will observe that the water is cool, but the land is warm, okay. Now, what happens here is that the hot air above the land, it rises up, okay, and the cool air above the sea blows towards the land to take its place. Now, this is called the sea breeze. So, what happens in sea breeze is that firstly the sun warms up both land as well as the sea. The sea water stays cool, okay, but the land starts getting heated up, okay, and then the hot air, it starts rising up and then it mixes up with the cool air that you get from the sea, okay. The cool air above the sea, it blows towards the land to take its place, okay. Now, what is a land breeze? At night, the land cools faster and the sea is warm. Hot air above the sea, okay, rises and cool air above the land rushes to take its place, okay. So, breeze blows from land to sea. Now, this is known as the land breeze, okay. So, at night, so now that was during the daytime, okay, but what happens at night is the other way round. The land cools faster okay, and the sea, it is warm. Okay, now hot air above the sea, okay, because it is warm, the hot air above the sea, it rises and it goes, and the cool air above the land rushes to take its place. Okay. So, this breeze blows from land to sea. Okay. In the other case, the sea, it used to blow from sea to land, and here it is from land to the sea. So, this is known as the land breeze. Okay. Now, what is water? Okay. Now, let us talk about water. Water is, we all know that Earth is known as the blue planet, okay, because Earth's surface has about 71% water. So, if you must have observed a globe, okay, you must have seen that most of the area is colored in blue. Okay, that is because it shows that 71% of the earth is consists of water. So, water is present on surface in rivers, okay, in lakes, in ponds, in sea and oceans, and it is also found underground. Now, our body's most of the weight is because of water. It is present in air also. So, water changes its state by heating and cooling. So, just like there is land breeze and sea breeze, here also because of the water also, okay, the state of the water changes because of the heating and the cooling, and water is present in water bodies. So, now out of these water bodies, the water that we cannot drink at all is the water from the seas and the ocean. That is the reason we cannot drink that water at all, because that water is salty. Okay, and there is a certain amount of water which is found under the ground as well. Okay, our body also has water inside. Okay, now let us talk about the water changes its state by heating and cooling. So, what is the state when it is heated up and what is the state when it is cooled down? Okay, so let us talk about evaporation first. Water on heating is converted into water vapor. Okay, so when you heat the water, you see the steam coming out, that is known as the water vapor. Okay, now this phenomenon occurs on the surface of earth due to sun's heat. Okay, the process of change of water into water vapor due to the heating, okay, is called evaporation. The process of evaporation is faster if it is windy, the air is dry, the temperature is high and the exposed surface of water is large. So, the water vapor rises up and cools down to form clouds, and these clouds fall in the on the earth as rain. Okay, when too much of water is gathered inside the clouds, okay, they fall down in the form of rain or dew or frost or fog or snow. Okay. Now, let us talk about condensation. So, when there is cooling of water vapor to water droplets, this process is called condensation. So, first was upon heating, water changes into water vapor. Now, this is upon cooling, water vapor changes into water droplets. Okay. This process is called condensation. Now, water exists in all three forms of matter, that is ice, it exists as ice, okay, that is the solid form, as water which is the liquid form, and as water vapor which is the gaseous form. Okay. Now, in nature we can see water in the form of fog, dew, frost, hail and snow as well. Now, what are these? What is dew? Okay, mostly during winter mornings, okay, during the winter season you must have observed that the water droplets can be seen in the nature, on the grass and on some other objects also. Okay, in the morning, early morning you must have seen that, okay, during winters especially. Now, these droplets of water, they are called dew. Now, what happens is when in case of frost, okay, when it is very cold, it is extremely cold, the dew freezes into tiny white crystals. Now, these tiny white crystals are known as frost. Okay. Then, when the water vapor condenses on the dust particle in the air, it forms fog. Okay. So, you must have seen dense fog during winters and all. That is because when the water vapor, okay, water vapor condenses. That means it changes from water vapor upon cooling into water, okay, and sits on the dust particles in the air. The dust particles which are present in the air, it changes into fog, okay. It forms a fog. Now, hail. When raindrops pass through a very cold region of the atmosphere, they freeze and they become hail. So, when the atmosphere is really cold, okay, and it starts raining, okay, and the raindrops, when they meet with that cold atmosphere, they freeze and they fall down as in the form of hail, okay. Now, what is snow? At mountains, the temperature is very low. The water vapor cools suddenly and freezes into snowflakes. Okay, so when the water vapor cools suddenly and freezes into snowflakes, it is known as snow. Okay. Now, what are the impurities in water? We all know that water is not clear. Okay. So, what are the impurities in water? So, water becomes impure in many ways. Okay. Certain impurities, they dissolve in the water and are called soluble matters. So, whatever impurities get dissolved in the water, they are called the soluble matter. Okay. Now, the water that flows down from the mountains or hills with minerals soluble in it. Okay. Some minerals make the water impure. So, we all know when the rain falls on the mountains, okay, and on the hills, we see those tiny streams of water fall from everywhere. Okay, now this water it falls down and gets gathered in the lakes and rivers and ponds and all. Now, this water that is falling down, it has minerals in it. Now, some of the minerals, they make the water impure. Now, some impurities, they do not dissolve in water and are called insoluble impurities. The ones that dissolve are called soluble, the ones that do not dissolve are called as insoluble impurities. Now, certain particles like mud, sand, etc., they are not soluble in water, okay, because they are heavier than the water. So, they cannot dissolve in it. Okay. Disease causing germs are also present in water. So, that is the reason why we keep telling you all that not to gather water anywhere, okay, and if there is gathered water anywhere, please get rid of it, because that's where mosquitoes lay eggs. Okay, and that's when the germs start getting mixed up with the water that is stagnant. Okay. Now, how do you remove the insoluble impurities? Insoluble impurities can be removed by the process of sedimentation, decantation and filtration. Okay. Now, what is sedimentation and decantation? You have to take some muddy water in a beaker. So, take a beaker, add some muddy water to it and allow it to stand for some time. So, you will observe that the mud particles that do not dissolve in the water will settle down at the bottom, okay, and this is called sedimentation. The process of decantation is followed by sedimentation. In this process, slowly pour the clear water without disturbing the sediments. So, whatever sediments are there at the bottom which could not get dissolved in the water, and then you will see a part of it is there. There is water above that, and then there is those particles that have not got dissolved in it. So, now slowly pour that water which is on top into another beaker, okay, and then you take this water, and then the water so obtained is not clear. So, the water is filtered through filter paper, and then you put this water that you have collected in the process of decantation and put it on a filter paper and get it filtered. Okay. Now, activity to show the process of filtration. What you need is filter paper, muddy water, funnel, beaker stand and glass rod. Okay. So, what you will do is you will take a round filter paper, okay, fold it into half to make a cone. You can look at the diagram and see how it is made. Okay. Fix the filter paper in a funnel. Okay. So, funnel is like a it's like a vessel, okay, which is used to pour water so that it does not fall here and there and goes directly into that jar or the bottle that you are using. Okay. Now, 3 folds are on one side and one on the other side. Okay. Now, pour muddy water through this filter paper. Okay, clear water will be collected in the beaker below the funnel. So when you put this muddy water, you will see that the clear water is being collected at the bottom of the funnel, okay, below the funnel. Now the observation is that the clear water is collected in the beaker and impurities are on the filter paper. So whatever was not dissolved in it was collected on the filter paper. So conclusion is that the clear water in the beaker is filtrate and impurities on filter paper are called residue. Okay. So whatever impurities are left behind, they are known as residue. Okay, and the clear water is known as filtrate. Okay. Now the surface water, when passes through layers of earth, become underground water. This water is safe to drink. The water obtained after filtration is unfit to drink because of the presence of germs. Chemicals like bleaching powder, potassium permanganate or chlorine can be used for killing germs. So you must have seen in the swimming pool and all, they add chlorine to that water. Why do they do that? It is to purify the water. So many people use that water and it gets contaminated. So in order to remove the impurities, they add chlorine to that water so that the germs don't develop there. Okay. Now, water filters can also be used for cleaning water. Chlorination is a process of adding chlorine to the water. This method is opted to kill germs at the waterworks of a city. Okay. Now, what is underground water? The water that seeps under the layer of the earth forms the underground water. So, when it rains, okay, you will see that the water enters under the ground also and gets accumulated. Now, this water that seeps under the layer of the earth is known as the underground water. The level of underground water in that area is called its water table. It's called water table. Now, it differs from place to place as it may be high or low according to the season. Now, the underground water can be taken out by digging wells and tube wells. Okay. So, this is a method of getting the water that is stored under the surface of the earth. Okay. Yes, but you cannot directly use that water, it needs to be filtered as well. Okay. Now, let us talk about weather. Weather is condition of the atmosphere surrounding us at a particular time in terms of temperature, atmospheric pressure, wind and moisture. It may be sunny, rainy, cloudy, windy, etc. It changes from time to time and hour to hour. So, weather means the condition of the atmosphere, okay, condition of the air, atmosphere surrounding us, okay, atmosphere that's the air surrounding us at a particular time in terms of temperature, atmospheric pressure, wind and moisture is known as weather. Okay. Now, it can be sunny sometimes, it can be rainy sometimes, it can be cloudy, windy, it keeps on changing not only on a day-to-day basis, but also on minute-to-minute or hour-to-hour basis. So, sometimes you must have seen that all of a sudden, okay, it starts raining, all of a sudden it is very sunny. So, that is how the weather keeps on changing. Okay. Now, what is the role of sun in the change of weather? The sun plays an important role in causing changes in the weather. The earth rotates around its axis, causing day and night. Now, the earth also revolves around the sun, that causes changes in the season. Okay. One is day and night happens because of the rotation of the earth around its own axis. Okay. It keeps moving on its own axis and that is when day and night occur. But when the earth revolves around the sun, okay, the changes in the season happen. The part of the earth that is closer to the sun is warmer than the part of the earth which is away from the sun. So, when it starts revolving, it takes 365 and 1/4 day for the entire revolution to complete. Okay. So, during this time, the earth goes into different phases, okay, of around the sun, and that is when it is closer to the sun, it becomes cooler in those areas that are closer, and then those areas that are not closer to the sun, they have the winters. Okay. That is how the climate keeps on changing. Now, in countries like India, winter, summer and monsoon are three main seasons. Now, the sun also causes winds to blow. Okay, the sun's heat affects the movement of the air. The heat of the sun heats up in the air. Okay, the hot air is lighter and it rises up. We've already seen this, that the hot air rises up. The cool air takes its place as it is heavier. Now, the water from the surface gets evaporated due to sun's heat. Okay, the process of evaporation. Okay, water changes into water vapor due to heating. Okay, the water vapor condenses to form clouds. So, when it cools down, when the water vapor cools down, okay, it condenses to form clouds. Okay, as when clouds become heavy, they fall as rain or snow when the atmosphere is extremely cold. Okay, so that's how air, water and weather are all linked, and sun is a major factor in all this. Okay, now let's revise. Okay, air is found everywhere. We can find air everywhere. Okay, but we cannot see air, but we can feel air. Moving air is called wind. Okay, fast moving air, when the force of the wind is fast, it's known as storm. Okay, and gentle moving air is breeze. Now, air occupies space and it has mass, energy and pressure. Air is a mixture of gases. The layer of air that surrounds the earth is called atmosphere. Hot air is lighter than the cool air. Okay, water evaporates faster when it is windy, hot and dry weather. Soluble impurities can be removed by boiling, by filters and by chlorination. Okay, now sun plays an important role in the change of season. Alright, so children, quickly reread the chapter and then now let's move on to the exercises and see how much you followed. Okay, tick the correct option. Okay, air is a compound element mixture of none of the above. It is a mixture of gases. Okay, the process of changing water to water vapor is, when you change water to water vapor upon heating, it is known as evaporation. Okay, moving air is called storm, wind, flood or smoke. It is known as wind. Okay, the water vapor that condenses as water droplets on the ground is called, it is known as the dew. Okay, water droplets, dew. Now, conversion of water to water vapor is known as, when you convert water to water vapor, it is known as evaporation. Okay, the percentage of oxygen to nitrogen in the air is A 21:78, 78 is to 21, B, C is 50:50 or D 30:70, and the answer is 21% is oxygen and 78% is nitrogen. So, A 21 is to 78. Okay, now fill in the blanks. Air is a dash of gases, mixture of gases. The layer of air that surrounds the earth is called atmosphere. Moving air is called wind. The main constituent of air is nitrogen. All weather changes are caused by sun. Okay, dash changes from day to day and hour to hour. What changes? The weather. Okay, now nitrogen, how much percent? Match the column. 78%. Oxygen is 21%. Okay, what is wind? Okay, wind is moving air. Storm is air with very high speed. Wells, what are wells? They are the source of underground water. Okay, seasons, they occur due to the revolution of earth, and filtration is a process of purifying water. Alright, now let's do this true or false. Okay, the percentage of oxygen in the air is 78%. Is that true, children? No, it is 21%. So, 78% is what? Nitrogen. So, the statement is false. The air we breathe in is oxygen. Absolutely true. The air contains water vapor? Yes, okay, it does. Air occupies space but does not have mass. Okay, this is false. Okay, it has mass also. Evaporation takes place faster on a rainy day? No, it takes faster, it is faster on a sunny day, because evaporation occurs due to the heat of the sun. Okay. Cold air is light and it rises up? No. Hot air is light and it rises up. To kill germs in water, chlorination is done? Absolutely true. Okay. Now, take the correct answer. Moving air is called wind or storm? Wind. Air exerts pressure or rigidity? It exerts pressure. The largest component of air is oxygen or nitrogen? It is a nitrogen. White tiny flakes falling from the sky is known as snow or fog? It is snow. In country like India, there are 3 or 4 seasons? There are 3 seasons. Okay. Now, write one word. Layer of air around the earth? Atmosphere. The gas which helps in burning? Again, oxygen. Okay. Now, fast moving air is? Fast moving air, storm. Okay. Chemical used to kill germs in water? Chlorine. Level of underground water in an area is known as the underground water. Okay. Now, short answer questions. Okay. What is atmosphere? Okay. Now, children, we have already done this. It is the layer of air that is around the earth. Okay. Now, give 2 properties of air. We have already done this in the beginning of the chapter. So, quickly write 2 properties of air that you feel is what is required as an answer. Now, define water table of an area. Water table, the underground water. Okay. That is the water table. Okay. So, you have to define that. What is water table? Okay. Define weather. Okay, the climatic condition. Okay, weather. Now, which movement of earth is responsible for change in season? So, talk about rotation and also explain revolution, okay, which is responsible for the changes of season. Now, long answer questions. Why should we not breathe through mouth? We've already said about the tiny particles entering our nose and the tiny hair that is in the nose that prevents the dust particles from entering inside. Okay, whereas mouth does not have hair. Okay, so the air does not get filtrated. That's why. So, elaborate this answer. Now, you have to list all the components of air. So, what is air made up of? You have to list all the components that are present in the air. What is the difference between hail and snow? Okay. What are the conditions for evaporation to take faster? Okay. So, what makes the evaporation process faster? Okay. We all know evaporation means change of water to water vapor upon heating. So, how does it get faster? What are the conditions for that? And how does land breeze occur? And you have to support your answer with the diagram. Okay. Now, critical thinking skills. Policemen wear mask while regulating traffic at a crowded place. Why? They wear a mask, so okay, because where there is lot of traffic, lot of pollution happens, okay, lot of dust particles are there in the air. So, in order to safeguard themselves, okay, they wear a mask. Okay. Now, mountaineers carry oxygen cylinder with them. Explain. Okay, as we go higher up, the layer of the earth starts getting thinner, okay, and there is less of oxygen. That is the reason why they carry oxygen cylinder with them. Why water of swimming pool is cooler as compared to the land surrounding the pool on a hot and sunny day? That's because the land gets heated faster. Okay. Now, case-based study. Moving air is called wind. Gently moving air is called breeze, while fast moving wind is called storm. A breeze is pleasing, but storm is harmful. A storm can uproot trees, damage plants, bang doors and windows and blow off the roof of the huts. Air is a mixture of gases. Therefore, it shows all the properties of gas. So, this is just a gist of what we've already learnt in the chapter. Okay. Now, air occupies space. Air gives shape. Air has no color, no taste, no smell. Air is made up of many gases. Okay. It has oxygen, it has carbon dioxide, nitrogen, it has water vapor. Okay. Apart from that, air also contains dust and germs. Okay. So, air also has a lot of harmful gases such as smoke. Smoke makes the air dirty and it causes pollution and it makes people sick. So, this is just a gist of what air is, what are the properties of air, what does the air contain. Okay, and when the air is mixed with smoke and other type of gases, it causes air pollution, which is harmful for our health, for the health of the living beings. Okay, now moving air is called breeze, wind, storm. None of these, it is called wind. Slow moving air is called breeze, wind, storm, or none of these, it is breeze. Fast moving air is called breeze, wind, storm, or none of these, it is known as storm. Now you have to write two properties of air. Okay, so air occupies space and air gives shape. So these are some of the two properties. Okay, now life skills. 3/4 of Earth's surface is covered with water. List all the activities we perform with water, and you have to tick the following statements if they are true. Okay, we should use plenty of water to wash our car. Do you require plenty of water, or just a bucket of water? Not even a bucket, half a bucket of water is sufficient? Yes, half a bucket is sufficient. All surface water of the earth is not usable. That is true. Not all the surface water is usable. Use dirty hands to take water from the container. False. It will make the entire container dirty. Chlorination of water is done for killing of germs in water. Yes, true. Use maximum of water from well and tube well. Yes, true. Okay, now let's do something new. Find the words that mean the following from the box. Okay, so you have to find the answer of what the statement means. Blanket of air around the earth, atmosphere. Gas we use for breathing, what is it? It is oxygen. Moving air is called wind, and the major component of air is nitrogen. So find these words in the box. Now explore. Do seasons in northern and southern hemisphere of the earth are same? Why and why not? Are the seasons same in the northern as well as southern hemisphere? If not, then why? And if yes, then why? Okay. Which days of the year has equal days and nights, and why this happens so? So find out which are the days when the hours of day and the hours of night are equal. Okay. Rotation and revolution are two movements of the earth. What are their effects on earth, and how these effects are visible on the earth? Alright, but before you explore this and find out more information about it, you know what you have to do? You have to reread the chapter. Okay, complete all the exercises, do the activities, and then start exploring further. So get going, children.